Howdy y'all, I wanted to talk about Morgan Metal Detective. This is a game where you play the character Morgan, and you could have guessed it right. You're using a metal detector. This is a game where all you're doing is using a metal detector to check on things in the ground, see what's there, and that's pretty much the experience of it. This game reminds me of Power Wash Simulator. When I played Power Wash Simulator, I would get kind of obsessive with getting every nook and cranny clean in the space I was cleaning. And it's a similar feeling here playing this game. When I'm using this metal detector, I'm trying to look at every spot possible and collect everything I can. Now, this game does have a little bit of a story to guide you, but it's kind of simple and basic, and it takes you sort of from one point to the next, and the further you go, the more little side quest missions you do, but they're all the same. Go find this item, go fetch this item. Some may give you a clue and you have to figure out where it's at. Some will tell you more directly where to go, and it's all on this island. The island that you're on is a decent size, but not overly huge. There's not too much options as far as traversal. You're just walking and running from place to place. There isn't really a fast travel option, but it doesn't really need it because it's not super big. It does have a map though, and it tells you where certain characters are on the map and where you can go to pick up certain quests and who you can talk to, and that was a nice little touch to have. Now, I played this on PC. The game ran mostly okay. There was a couple moments where I had some hiccup issues though, and using the keyboard and the mouse, sometimes it felt like that the metal detector itself would kind of either miss or hiccup mid-motion, if that makes any sort of sense. So that would happen pretty frequently enough. I would hope that you're able to smooth it out so it's a more seamless process, because it is something you're doing a lot, and after kind of running into those minor issues over a long period of time might make you a little bit more frustrated. But overall, the game is a nice getaway from everything else. It's a game that you can play a little bit in pieces here and there to take your mind off things, just searching for items in the ground. So you can find random items in the ground for quests, you can find currency that you can use to purchase different customizations, you find tapes, and you listen to these tapes, either give you a little background music to listen to while you're going around, or some background on the story on what's going on. So if you want to listen to music, you can't just go from one song to the next. You have to visually take out the tape once the song is over and put it back in. And so you have to kind of stop and pause to do that. And it takes away that seamlessness. And I just wish there was a way just for the music just to keep going kind of on the loop. But I couldn't find that out with the experience that I had. You do have a little bit of an inventory, but inventory management's not too bad of a thing. You're just picking up items and then delivering them. You can kind of endlessly collect the items that you need. And the world and characters are kind of cartoony, a little colorful. I was talking with a lot of them, and it was more text than voiceover dialogue for this. The game is in first person. There's no other option for that. So I don't know if it's something where I would prefer doing the metal detective thing in third person, to how that would feel compared to the first person. But it worked well enough. Again, sometimes the camera would go a certain way where I would try to aim a certain spot on the ground. It would kind of miss the spot I was going for and go another direction. So I felt like sometimes I'd be a little bit precise. But overall, I hit more than I missed in general. And you have this little device that kind of will read where there's metal at, and they'll tell you the rating of the metal. If it's something that's a bit stronger, it'll go higher up on the bar. If it's something that's lower and lighter, it'll show up lower, so it gives you a rough idea of kind of what you're looking for. So if you're trying to find a quest item and you know specifically what you're looking for, you can kind of get an idea, okay, the item's gonna weigh about this much. If the item runs up to a certain point, this is probably not it, so I can just move on. But either way, you just want to know what's there, so you're gonna search for it anyway. So even though you have this thing that tells you what type of metal it is, at least for me, I was like, well, I'm gonna dig this up anyway, because every time you find something, you get a little shovel and then you can dig it up. as soon as you find it. And that's all you're doing. You're just bending down, doing the shovel. Bending down, doing the shovel. You know, doing that motion over and over again, that's why I say you want to play this in bits. It's going to be doing the same thing over and over again. That's all you're doing. So seeing the same animation of you slowly bending down and picking the item up. So if you play a little too long, you're kind of like, okay, I'm feeling a little dull here with what I'm experiencing. So I would say play it in little bits and go back in sections. So if you ever wanted to try metal detecting, this might be a good test run for you. If it's something you ever wanted to try in real life, doing this game kind of gives you a sense of what it would be like to see if you want to go purchase that metal detector just to try it out for a day. You know, it's interesting to give you that sort of experience to see how people feel about it. A lot of people I don't think have tried metal detecting at all. So I'm curious how it would go with those people, if they would find it boring or get super obsessed with it. It's an either or situation here.